Hi, guys. Good morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, whatever it is for you. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, and I am going to talk to you about an experience that I had with a phone appointment with a medium yesterday, because I think it's important for the real ones, the connected ones, to be known because I've had experiences with medium appointments that weren't really mediums. So anyway, I'm Lisa, and this is North Star Energy Healing. I don't know if this will lead to any type of a reading. I don't know if my guides will prompt me to do that, but what I want to talk to you about is that some of you who follow me know that I've talked about my husband's medical problems, things that have happened with him lately, a cough, just trying to get the doctors to do something about it, just different things like that. Also, last January, he had a medical event that nobody could really. They tried to label it as a stroke, and then they tried to label it as a TIA, and there was no concrete evidence. I because I work in the medical field, I understand how to read lab results and CT scan results and MRI results. And I mean, if you read what they write, you can kind of understand it. And I knew that from reading all of that stuff, there wasn't any conclusive evidence of anything like that happening. So we were left with doctors that kept trying to give him one pill after another. And in the beginning, they put him on a whole bunch of pills, and those had side effects, and it just led to this throat problem and all of these different things. So, not regarding this, but over the summer, I had two appointments with two different mediums. The first one that I had, I knew immediately that this person was not connected to any one of my people in spirit. I probably should have just come out and said, "Who are you connected to for me?" But I didn't. I didn't have the guts to kind of do that. I just sat there and wasted my money on the appointment. There were a couple things that came out of it energy wise around my home that have helped. But as far as being a medium, which is somebody who connects with others on the other side, people that have passed, people that have crossed, that's what a medium does. There was none of that. And then the second appointment I had, I kind of knew in my gut before I even went, but there were circumstances around that which made me not have the guts to cancel the appointment, let's say. So I went once again. This medium was not connected to anyone in spirit for me. I know because I've been to plenty of psychics and mediums, and I know who usually comes through, and I know all my family members who've crossed and whatnot. So first of all, when you go to a medium, you should do your research. You should go to one that's been recommended, so you know that they are the real thing. Because the first thing that a medium should do is bring through someone in spirit for you and bring you evidence that they are connected to that person. So they might say, I have, an older woman. She feels like a mother figure. She's showing me a rolling pin. She's baking. And then you say, oh, yes, that's my mother. She loves to bake. Okay. Or let me see, one medium that I also know is great. It wasn't yesterday's, but Melissa Boyd, and I think her website it's either Deep Blue Truth or Grow Your Knowing, something like that. Melissa Boyd, she's in Brunswick, Maine. She brought through my step grandfather by saying, I can see a lot of plaid, and I see logs, and I see this. I knew that was him because he had done a lot of paintings of logging in Maine. So that is evidence. That is, I know that she is actually connected to someone that's connected to me, that's crossed. Isabeau, I think her last name is Maxwell. She has a website called The Sage Method, I think is what it is. She doesn't do, I don't think she does personal readings anymore, but I was fortunate enough to get a reading with her. Gosh, I don't even know, way back in 2007 maybe. when she was still doing individual readings. She used psychometry. So I brought her what's called a funeral card. These are not used typically much anymore, but when you go to a funeral, you in the old days or old times, and maybe some people still do this, they would be like a postcard thing, and it would talk about the person, their name, their date of birth, and a little blurb about the person. So I brought that inside of an envelope, and she held it in her hands like this. And then she said, gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. She said, he's coming through and he's walking around a car. And he said, the car got the best of me. He died in a car accident. Okay, ding, ding, ding. Yes, I knew that she was connected to him because of that evidence. Okay. So, and then this person from yesterday that I went to, her name is Dawn Carr. Her website is psychicstew.com. So the word psychic and stew as in a stew, S-T-E-W, psychicstew.com. Now, I first went to Dawn Carr at a psychic fair in northern Maine. I don't even remember the date. Sometime around those same dates, 2007, 8, 9, could have been even earlier than that, somewhere around there. And she was doing 15-minute readings. I think I talked about this on one of my videos. But anyway, and then I had her for a birthday reading, and I've had 1 or 2 phone readings with her since, and my husband had his second phone reading with her yesterday. So I decided to do this because we're just getting no help from the medical doctors, from his doctors, from these people that supposedly care about him and want to heal him and, want to help him heal, however you want to say it. So we got on the phone. Okay, so I also want to say that for the days leading up to this phone reading, I was actually telling Jeff's parents, who have both passed, Jeff's going to be talking to Dawn, so if you have a message, come through. She's going to be there. He's going to be there. This is your chance to, give Jeff any messages you need to give him. So when Dawn, she calls, so you make an appointment on our website for a phone reading. You can either get a 30-minute or a 45-minute. We got a 45-minute this time. It was a 30-minute last time. So she comes through and she says, oh boy, before I even got on this call, there's already people here. There's so many people here, and I laughed and I said, well, that's my fault because I told them to come through. And she laughed and she said, yeah, sometimes that does work. And it definitely worked in this time. So, if you do have a reading with a medium, I would suggest that you definitely talk to the people that have crossed that you want to come through and ask them to come through. Make sure you tell them that, when it's going to be happening. So anyway, she came through immediately with Jeff's mom and dad, and she said, it's like there's so many people here and there's one person, and she said, the Beverly Hillbillies where they're all together and there's all these characters, and she goes, there's someone that's sort of like Ellie Mae, and she's jumping up and down like she's so happy that you're doing this. And I believe that was one of Jeff's female cousins that had crossed, but we had to figure out who was who as we were going along. So, because remember, when mediums are communicating with people on the other side, they're getting like a feeling. It's not like the spirit is talking to you with their mouth like I am. They give feelings about things, okay? So it's not like this Ellie Mae character could say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I anyhow. So then she brought through his dad and talked about him, talked about his sister. I mean, it was just evidence that we knew was there. And she was like, and there's a female with an old-fashioned name I feel like it could be a grandmother on your mom's side, Muriel. That's definitely an old-fashioned name. Oh, she did say M name, I think. So, all right. So then she brings through a lot of messages in the beginning because she said they're all lined up. Everybody's trying to come through, and she was talking really fast. So I had a notebook, and she was on speakerphone, and we told her that when Jeff got on, said, my wife is going to take notes, and she said, oh, that's fine, and whatnot. So I was taking all notes while she was talking to him so that I wouldn't forget anything. And so after she got through with all of the stuff, it took like 15 minutes for her to get through of all the people that were there that were coming through with messages that they saw Jeff, saw him in his life, And so then she said, okay, now that we've got that out of the way, do you have some questions for me? So we asked about the throat issues, the cough, the scratchy throat, and there's a lot of information. I'm not going to give all of it here, but as I suspected, when we talked about the medical incident in January, she said this was something that happened that was like a blip with your heart or your blood in some way, which is why when they did all those tests, nothing showed up as a stroke or a TIA, because it was like a medical blip. And anyway, she gave a lot of information about that and it made total sense. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that makes sense. So then she talked about what the things are that he can do. And we found out that, the doctor told him to take aspirin every day, and aspirin can do some irritating to your throat. Oh, I also have to mention, she does say, she gives a disclaimer and says, I am not a medical doctor. I'm going to give you the messages that come through spirit, but if you should seek medical help from a doctor, if, you feel that that's the right thing for you. I'm going to give you these messages through spirit, but remember, I am not a doctor. She has so much integrity. It's just amazing, right? And she said that 2 or 3 times throughout the reading to make sure that we understood that she was giving messages from spirit. And then they would give her examples to tell him about certain things like fish oil and, stuff like that. But we did find out that the aspirin can also be a throat irritant, which another friend of mine who studies Ayurvedic medicine had also mentioned to me. When my friend who studies Ayurvedic had mentioned, I took the aspirin out of his pill vitamin regimen right away. So Dawn just backed that up by saying, yes, that's true. Aspirin can be an irritant that way. So without going into a whole lot of the stuff that she said, one of the things that I found interesting was, so towards the end, she says, do you have any other questions? So we asked the questions that we wanted to ask. And then, I could have had a 2-hour appointment. There's just so much sometimes when you get here, but with a 45-minute reading, like 4 to 5 questions, because she goes into detail with messages from spirit and examples from her own life and whatever her guides are telling her. Like when you watch me and I'm doing a reading and my guides will tell me to relate a story that's happened to me, that's kind of similar to what was happening. So you've got to be reasonable. Like you can't have 20 questions and expect all those to be answered in, a 45 minutes. So I'm just saying. And she may have longer than 45 minutes. Actually, I have her website pulled up over here because I want to link it in this video. No, she actually has a 15-minute reading, but wow, it would be hard. That would be like one question pretty much. 15 minutes for 35, 30 minutes for 65, 45 minutes for 95. So 45 is the longest one that she does, which I understand that because it takes a lot out of a medium. I've been watching Tyler Henry recently, and it really does take a toll on your body when you're doing this all the time. So, okay, what else? So towards the end, I asked her, I wanted to know about how our cat's doing, because our cat is 16 years old. She still is the size of a kitten, but she's been having some trouble. And sure enough, she connected. And she said, well, are there 2 cats? Well, I had another cat that was her half-sister that died a couple of years ago. And I said, well, there were. And she said, oh, that cat's still around. I said, yeah, I know. I can feel her walking around on my bed at night sometimes. She said that the cat there's something with her food that's not matching up. She likes the soupy stuff, anyway. So she connected with the cat that's here, and she connected with my cat that has crossed. So that was interesting. And then I don't know how we got onto this. Oh, she was talking about how past lives can affect our physical health in this life, and that sometimes, getting a past life regression can help us get rid of the issues that we have carried over from other lives. And she said that she saw Jeff as like a U.S. cavalry person, and said that, she said, oh, wait a minute. She said, the two of you, I feel, were there together, but you weren't, you were brothers, like it was two men, and we were there in a past life, which didn't surprise me at all, because when I met Jeff, I felt like I knew him before I even walked up to him. I've told that story in another video about how we met and how I felt. And it was an immediate connection, me from 100 feet away, seeing him standing in the barn at the horse barn where he worked. Immediate, like I knew. Anyway, so that was really interesting that she brought that through. So also she brought through that Jeff's dad was a twin, and his twin sister. I mean, it's just so much. So, guys, you do your homework. If you want to see a medium, don't, try to really do your homework. Look for testimonials. Like Dawn's website has a bunch of testimonials on there of people that have had readings with her. She's been around a long time. She has so much integrity. She has only raised her prices $5 in all the years that I have known her. These have been her prices. She went from 60 to 65 and 90 to 95 in 2024. But all of the years that I've known her, her prices have only gone up by $5. This is somebody that is in it for the right reasons. She has integrity, okay? I will say the same thing about Melissa Boyd, who is in Brunswick. If I can get her website up and put the link in for hers, I will do that as well. Because I think that sometimes, even though we are using our intuition, when it comes to our own health sometimes and our family's health, it's hard to connect because we're too close emotionally, right? Because when you're channeling, you're kind of emotionally detached. You're not yourself, right? So when I'm super attached emotionally to my husband, it's really hard for me to get rid of my bias of all the things I know about him and give a clear, straight message, right? I'm not saying that it can't be done, but sometimes we need to go outside ourselves and get a message from someone else. Sorry, guys, I'm so excited. And the energy, oh my gosh, she is so happy and upbeat and positive. Like we could feel her energy coming through the phone. I was so energized after that reading. I just wanted to get up and research stuff and order stuff and do it, So it's just amazing when you find that true person who has integrity. It makes all the difference in the world. How you feel, what happens. It's just really amazing. So I wanted to give that shout out, but I also, like I said, I feel that it's important for all of us as a collective to know that there are honest, good, true mediums out there who really do connect with the other side. But unfortunately, there are also imposters who prey on people's emotions, who claim to be a medium. I am not a medium. I would never claim to be a medium or a psychic. I am intuitively connected to my guides, and I do sometimes bring through messages from them, but I would never ever tell anyone that I am a medium or a psychic. That's not the gift that I have right now. Sometimes I wish that I were, but I'm not. So let me think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, just please use your discernment. Do your research. I see a lot of things on Facebook and Instagram where people are, and I'm not saying they aren't. I'm just saying do your homework. Look at testimonials, get a recommendation from somebody that's a friend that has been to someone who does this, before you spend your money on it. And I spent more than $95 on both of those people that I saw over the summer. So I will stick with Dawn or Melissa. Or if Isabeau ever goes back to doing personal readings, I would go to her too. Okay. Well, I think that I'm not getting the feeling that I need to go into any cards or anything. This is about 20 minutes long. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that it helps you in some way. I thank you for watching. I thank you for supporting my channel. I thank you for being there. I'm only 8 away from 400 subscribers, so I'm getting very excited that I may meet that goal before the end of the year. Thank you all so, so very much. I do love you all so much and appreciate you all so much. And you know what I'm going to say. Peace and kindness every single day. Bye, guys.